My name is Margaret Collins. I'm 59 years old, a widow, and I live in a quiet neighborhood in Oregon. I've worked as an office manager at a law firm for nearly 2 decades. I raised 2 children, Emily, my daughter who just turned 32, and Luke, my 29-year-old son, and spent most of my adult life making sure they never had to struggle the way I did. Last Tuesday, I received an email that changed everything. It was from Emily. No subject line, just her name sitting in my inbox. I smiled before opening it, thinking maybe it was a quick update or a sweet note before her big day. We had just spoken about her wedding plans a few weeks ago. I had already contributed $30,000 to help her book the venue, secure a photographer, and reserve the florist she'd loved since college. But when I opened the email, and in the email, the smile vanished. Mom? It started. No, dear Mom. Just Mom, like a label. Emily explained that she, along with her fiancé Andrew, and his family, had finalized the guest list for the ceremony in Napa Valley. And after much thought, they decided it was best for me to watch the wedding via live stream, not in person. Andrew's mother, she explained, was particular about the guest count and wanted to keep things intimate. At the end, she included a line that felt like salt in an open wound. If you want to be a part of it, you can watch through the Google Meet link we've created. Should be just like being there. LOL. I stared at that screen for a long time. My coffee grew cold, my hands didn't tremble. I didn't cry. Something inside me quietly shifted like the ground had cracked open beneath me, but I was still standing. I replied with just 4 words. Sure, enjoy your big day. No emotion, no argument. Just a quiet withdrawal. And I knew deep down, those 4 words would echo louder than any scream. That was the day I stopped pretending that my sacrifices meant anything to my daughter. That was the day everything began to change. The drive to the office that morning was quiet. Oregon's early spring air still held a chill, but I barely noticed. My mind kept circling the same question. How did we get here? I've spent 18 years working at Caldwell Walker Law. It's not glamorous, but it's stable. And stability was what I needed after my husband died suddenly when the kids were still teenagers. I remember standing in front of our old washing machine, bills spread across the counter, trying to figure out how to pay for both groceries and Emily's upcoming college deposit. Back then, I didn't think twice about giving up my weekends. I took extra shifts, canceled vacations, skipped birthdays. I told myself there would be time for me later. There never was. Every penny. I saved one to Emily and Luke. When Emily changed majors twice and needed more credits, I paid. When she moved across the country for a short-lived job in New York, I paid the deposit and bought the plane ticket. When she cried through her second breakup at 27, I flew out, held her hand, made her tea in a kitchen that didn't feel like home. When Luke wanted to buy a house, I co-signed the mortgage and wrote the first $10,000 check without hesitation. I never kept score. That's what mothers do, right? But that email made me feel like a transaction. Like I had a shelf life and it had expired. Back at the office, my boss Robert noticed something was off. You look like you've seen a ghost, he said, setting a latte from the cafe downstairs on my desk. I smiled and said I hadn't. Slept well. That small act of kindness, just the coffee and silence, nearly undid me. Later that day, my phone buzzed. Emily again. Voicemails. Texts. Mom, please answer. We need to talk. This isn't funny. I didn't respond. Not yet. After work, I drove to First Federal Bank. I sat across from Carlos, the branch manager, and said calmly, I need to cancel a wire transfer. The one to the Napa venue? He asked. Yes, that one. You're in luck. It hasn't processed yet. He looked up. Are you sure, Mrs. Collins? $50,000 is a significant amount. I nodded. I'm sure. $50,000. That was the next payment on top of the $30,000 I'd already given. $80,000 total for a wedding I wasn't invited to attend. By the time I got home, there were 9 missed calls from Emily, 2 from Luke. One voicemail simply said, Mom, please don't do this. I turned off my phone. That evening, I poured a glass of red wine I had saved for Thanksgiving. Emily canceled last minute that year. Work, she said. I sat on the porch in the fading sunlight. Birds chirped, a neighbor's dog barked. The world moved on around me. And then the memories came. Birthdays I planned alone. Holiday dinners waiting for a call that never came. The new shoes I didn't buy. The car I drove for 14 years. The vacations I postponed. I thought about Andrew's mother, the woman whose opinion carried more weight than mine, and I thought about myself, not as a mother, not as a widow, but as a woman. What did I want? Peace, dignity, a life that didn't revolve around being useful to people who only called when they needed something. At 9 p.m., the doorbell rang. It was Luke, disheveled, anxious. Mom, why aren't you answering? Emily's freaking out. You're not coming to the wedding now? I was uninvited. He looked stunned. Andrew's parents are traditional. I paid $30,000 already. I was about to give $50,000 more. That's not tradition. That's a transaction. He paled. Wait, you were sending another $50,000? Was, he raised his voice. Of course it's your problem. She's your daughter. And I'm her mother, I said quietly. A mother who was told to stay home and watch from a screen. You always nick everything about yourself, and that was it. Get out of my house. What? You heard me, Luke. Get out. His face dropped. Then he left. And? The strangest thing? I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. The next morning, 43 missed calls. More texts from Emily. Panic, guilt, desperation. The venue called. Payment didn't go through. We're going to lose everything. Andrew's parents are furious. Please don't do this to me. She didn't understand. Of course. She didn't. She never had to. Later, while reviewing contracts, another email arrived. Please don't ruin my wedding. It wasn't an apology. It was a negotiation. We can talk about you attending, but we need the funds first. I closed the email. Didn't respond. That afternoon, Robert invited me to lunch. Over pasta, I told him everything. When I finished, he just said, sometimes the hardest part of love is setting boundaries, especially with the people we've given the most to. That evening, someone sat on my front steps. It was Sophia, Emily's childhood best friend. She didn't beg. She asked, is there anything Emily can say or do to change your mind? I thought for a moment, then said, no, there isn't. Sophia nodded. She understood even if Emily didn't. The wedding never happened, not as they planned. They scrambled, lost the venue. The florist dropped out. They had a small backyard. Ceremony with Andrew's parents, I wasn't invited. And this time I didn't need to be. Weeks later, Emily sent a long email, half apology, half excuse. I read it once, archived it. I wasn't angry, just done. There's peace in letting go, not with rage, but with clarity. Now I go to work, I read. I joined a pottery class. I have dinner with friends who see me, not what I can give them. And I've learned something I wish I'd known sooner. You don't have to burn yourself to keep others warm. If this story resonated with you, please share it, leave a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Sometimes the strongest kind of love is the one you finally give to yourself.